Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and this is our WWE show for the week. Let's jump right into it. First off with the so-so segments. Basically, they weren't bad, they weren't good, they were just there. First one I want to talk about, R-Truth versus Stardust. Kind of a silly match, the bag of spiders thing. I think the R-Truth as a hypochondriac kind of thing is kind of funny. His scaredy cat routine is humorous. This just didn't do it for me. They kept going for the bag and then it being plastic spiders. I don't know. Stardust picks up the win in this. Which, I don't know. Like I said, the match just didn't do much for me. Coming off of that, we're going to go right into our question of the week. Now, the question was actually from 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I didn't shoot a show last week. I started a new position at work, and I'm getting used to working around the schedule. I've got it down a little bit now, so we're jumping right back in. The question was, who should face John Cena in his U.S. Open Challenge? Now, we have some answers from our friends here before we get into mine. First is from my cousin John. Totally want to see Hacksaw Jim Duggan, ho, or the Sandman, but to help push a young talent like they did with Neville would be good to see. Or a triple threat, 2 stars challenge at the same time. Sandow and Miz, for example. I think Ryback may be next. Some good opinions in there. Next is from Mike Kirwan. I think what would be a really fun match to see is John Cena face the Open Challenge is Kevin Owens. It would be so fun to see Kevin come out and get a huge crowd response. He could no-sell everything John Cena does and hopefully win the title. And also on the side note, what else you've written there, Mike, and you guys go look at the previous video. Thank you. I enjoy being back and I agree. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sticking with me, and again, thank you. Next is from our friend Ashley Marie. I'd love to see RVD and Cena do something like an Iron Man type match for the US title. Both could go 60 minutes, I feel. Interesting one. Probably their most famous match is the One Night Stand where Rob Van Dam beats him, which was a really good match, and Cena handled a very hostile environment pretty well. Next is from Benjamin Me19. I don't know why, but I'd love to see DDP cut a promo on Cena and challenge for the US title. Maybe they could go to a 20-minute Broadway, and Cena lays a beating at the end of the match, turns heel on the Ultimate Face, DDP. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Alright, interesting one again. So far, I'm liking the range of people that are being mentioned here. A lot of times when I do these questions of the weeks, we get a lot of the same answers over and over, which some of it is meant for that, but I like the variety. I like seeing all you guys with your different views and who you would enjoy. Next is from Sonny the Green Orc. Kevin Owens should make his debut as NXT champion against Cena and kick his ass, wins by DQ, but not the championship. Unlike at Rival, because the rules are different in the main roster, or something stupid like that. Or they could easily do he wins the match but doesn't stop beating up Cena, and the match gets reversed. They could do that as well. Next up, from Joseph Hatcher, I'd like to see John Cena versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Surprisingly, a second one. The reason why is simple. Hacksaw Jim Duggan is an American icon. I've seen him live and in person. He could still put together a decent to pretty good matches. Also, it would be fun. Hello! Second one. Interesting that 2 people would want to see Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We'll get into that in a moment. Last but not least, from our friend Dizzlepup, I'd like to see a young guy beat him. Neville, Dallas, Rose, or even Sandow, etc. Somebody supposedly a fluke win and the crowd would go nuts for the new champ. It'd be cool to see Cena take a screw you attitude and turn heel. Of course that won't happen, but I think WWS is at its best when they remind us that anything could happen. Example, Lesnar beating the Streak, Rollins winning at Mania, and they pull off a big surprise on us. Also, it'd be great to watch Dallas running around with the title telling people to believe. Wow, I butchered that. Sorry. Some interesting names in there. DDP, Kevin Owens, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Surprisingly, a lot of support for him. A lot of people had the similar idea that a younger talent should be pushed. I think this brings it full circle. If anybody, was watching, a lot of you guys have watched for a long time, so you guys remember when Cena debuted, it was a similar concept against Kurt Angle, and we'll talk about later a debut that happened on the episode of Raw we're reviewing now. I like that idea to bring someone new and fresh into the company. I think something really interesting would be bring Samoa Joe. It's been long rumored that he's coming to the WWE. It's been rumored he's going to NXT. Swerve everybody. Bring him right to the main roster. It's not like he needs the NXT rub. It's not like he needs any more in-ring training. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. I think it would be an interesting thing, see Samoa Joe versus Cena. Also, I'd like to see kind of a play what they did this week, where they have a hometown person wrestle Cena. Maybe a hometown legend or a hometown up-and-comer every town they're in. Example, they go to Pittsburgh, maybe Shane Douglas comes out. They go to Philadelphia, the aforementioned Sandman, maybe. They go to New York, the Brooklyn Brawler. They go somewhere like, or they go to New York and Big Cass with Enzo Amore. There's a lot of ways they could go with this. A lot of it I would enjoy. I think him using to build up a young talent is the perfect way to do it. What I would love to see is a Samoa Joe one. Have Samoa Joe just come right directly to the main roster and challenge John Cena. Now, coming off of that, we're going to roll into our good portion of the night, the stuff I actually liked. We have the opener with Randy Orton and Roman Reigns being interrupted by New Day, which sets up a match with the New Day versus Orton and Reigns. Very cool match. I enjoy the New Day one, and I like even later when they're still celebrating all through the night. It sets up the dissension in the ranks between Orton and Reigns. It faces that don't get along. It helps make New Day more of a threat, even though it was 3-on-2. They wrestled and beat two of the better guys in the company cleanly at that. Kane comes out afterwards, makes a main event Orton versus Reigns. Nice opening match, fun, interesting. New Day is turning and becoming a very interesting team going forward. And I'm sorry, I gotta rewind a bit. I totally skipped the question of the week for next week. Sorry about that, folks. Our question of the week for next week is, we all watched, or a lot of us watched, the ESPN E60. It highlighted Corey Graves, Adam Rose, and Xavier Woods. Now, I'd say out of the three, who's going to have a better career, but Corey Graves looks like he's going to be an announcer from here out. Not that I'd love to see him back in the ring. I thought he was a great talent. I thought he was someone that really could have changed and made a difference. But his health is more important for him. The question of the week for next week is, who do you think is going to have the better career? Adam Rose or Xavier Woods? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Put it down in the comments down where? Down there, right in the box. And when you're down there, hit the like button, share us, all that good stuff too. Now, back on track, since I had to take a detour back, very excited about this show. If you guys can't tell, I'm a little bit more frantic than normal. This is a very enjoyable Raw. And like I said, we're coming off, just talked about the tag team match, New Day versus Orton and Reigns. We go to an in-ring promo with Ryback, probably the best promo I've ever seen Ryback have. Kind of harkens back to a few months ago. He did it was about a 7-minute promo talking about how his whole, it's taken him 10 years to get him where he is and the secret and all that stuff. This was a streamlined version, which brings out Bray Wyatt on the Tron, which gives him back, pretty much retorts to what Ryback says. I think this is going to go far into building both characters. Ryback has been gaining some steam back, and hopefully he can go back to where he was before the matches with CM Punk, where he kind of hit the ceiling and then they pushed him back down. Maybe he could get back to there. Hopefully he can. Hopefully him and Wyatt carry each other to greater heights together. Coming off of that, we have a tag team match. Cesaro and Tyson Kidd versus the Ascension. As much as I hate that the Ascension are pretty much being pushed to the bottom of the tag division and how much better I think they could be, I love Cesaro and Kidd. I can't deny that. They're a great team. I forget which one of them said it, but one of them on their Twitter even said it's kind of like when Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg got together, that they clicked and they made something out of two careers that were pretty much going nowhere and walking around aimlessly. And I know we all love, everyone out there loves both these guys, but you gotta admit, they kind of were in the abyss, kind of not going anywhere. Together as a team, maybe they go down as one of the great tag teams of all time. Who knows? But they seem to fit really well together. I love the pairing. I thought this was a good match. Ascension showed well. Cesaro and Kidd pick up the win, stay in the title hunt, which is what they need to be. Next up, we have a match with Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. Before the match, Kane makes a stipulation. If Ambrose can win, then he joins the three-way match at Payback, which is now set at Rollins, Orton, and Reigns. During the match, we see the J&J security is barred from ringside. However, they come out at the end, which only causes to distract Rollins, which Ambrose picks up the win, thus making the three-way dance into a four-way, a fatal four-way, which could be fun. I honestly would have kept the three Shield members away from all three of them being in one match, except for maybe tag matches here and there, where they're all three against each other. And I would have built, for a WrestleMania 32 match, a three-way with all three Shield members against each other. Just my opinion. I think the four-way is going to be awesome. I think you got four really good wrestlers, really talented wrestlers in there. I don't mind what they're doing. My opinion would be keep the Shield from all three being in a match until WrestleMania. But they can still do that, and they can still make it good. I think this will be good as well. Next up, we have Fandango versus Rusev. Not a great match. Makes it on here for one reason, and one reason only, and I think you're going to know the answer as soon as I say it. Or actually, you probably know already. Lana Fandangoing. Can't go wrong with that. I mean, what can you say about it? Lana, they seem to be going the route of turning Lana into this generation's Sable or Sunny, where she's starting off as a heel. They're starting to see the rift between Rusev and her, where Rusev's controlling, it's going to drive her away, and she'll break off and become a face, and hopefully reach the heights that the aforementioned women did. But I think it's a good start, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun segment. I thought it made the segment, personally. Rusev picks up the win, because, of course, he does. But Lana Fandangoing is what everybody's going to remember. Next up, we have the John Cena U.S. Open Challenge, which brings out Bret Hart, saying he's going to bring someone out for Cena. They're interrupted by Heath Slater, who talks his way down to the ring. Bret Hart hits him with the microphone, and then announces in Montreal, making his somewhat Raw debut. He's wrestled there once before. Sami Zayn versus John Cena. I thought it was awesome. I thought the electricity in the crowd was great. I thought the match itself was great. Knowing that Sami Zayn wrestled the match with a shoulder issue the whole entire match made it even better for me. Some of the risks he took, knowing he was injured. Some of the things that Cena did. Cena putting him over at the end, raising his hand, and leaving the ring so Zayn could get a solo shine. Bravo to Cena for doing that. That was a great move, a great way to put over a young talent. I thought it was really, really cool. Hopefully it's not a bad shoulder injury and we get to see Zayn in the main event in a few weeks against Owens in NXT and on the main roster going forward. Next up, we have the Bellas coming down to the ring. But before we figure out who Nikki Bella is going to wrestle, they get attacked by Naomi and Tamina. Which Naomi reminds us that the Bellas have family. She has family too. She's married into Tamina's family now. So I think this is good. I put this on here. I like Tamina as a wrestler. I think she's very underrated. I think she's someone very marketable, very different ring style. I enjoy what she does. I think this is going to be a nice pairing, her and Naomi together. Maybe make Naomi a little bit more vicious. Take away some of the, as you could say, showy moves like the butt and stuff like that. And bring her more to the more vicious side like Tamina does. I think it's a good pairing, and it even levels the playing field against the Bellas. Next up, we have King Barrett and Sheamus versus Neville and Dolph Ziggler. Another good match. Kind of, the four men have kind of been feuding in a circle with each other. Neville with Barrett and Sheamus, Ziggler with Barrett and Sheamus, and Barrett and Sheamus with Neville, Barrett with Ziggler and Neville. You know, you understand what I'm saying. So why not put them together as groups? They put on a decent match. It was fun to watch, cool to see. Barrett and Sheamus pick up the win. Seem to work better as a more cohesive unit, which makes sense. Ziggler shouldn't work in a union. He's a show-off. He wants the spotlight. He should be a guy that works better as a solo wrestler. Makes perfect sense. Barrett and Sheamus pick up the win, which leads us into our main event. Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. Match is going. The Authority run down. Kane and all, which it's sent off by Ambrose, who evens the sides. They run off the Authority. We see Orton RKO Reigns. Turns around. Ambrose hits the Dirty Deeds DDT on him. We see the show go off the air with Ambrose standing strong. Maybe a foreshadowing of what may happen at Payback. Maybe not. But a cool way to end the show, and then either way. Now we're going to jump right into the ratings for the show. Now, we have a 1 to 5 scale here at Heel Heat. A 1 is a Heath Slater, 2 is a Curtis Axel, 3 is a Stardust, 4 is a Cesaro, 5 is a Daniel Bryan. Now, we created something, and it's only been used a handful of times in the hundreds of shows we have. If there's a show that is so good that a 5 isn't good enough, we have a special category for that. And that is where I would put this show. This show, to me, is above even a 5-star show or a Daniel Bryan show. To me, this show gets our special rating, the Shawn Michaels. What can you say? We all understand what that means. It's an all-time great. It's one of the, I think this is probably the best Monday Night Raw of the year. Maybe the one after WrestleMania. I had a lot more joy in this one. The one after WrestleMania seemed, if I remember correctly, it tailed off by the end of the night. I mean, this to me, you had Sami Zayn challenging for the title. You had the New Day really breaking out. Ryback showing that he could be a main player. Cesaro and Kidd staying as main players in the tag division. Lana doing her thing and becoming maybe the female face of WWE. Ambrose jumping into the main event picture. A legend like Bret Hart on the show. What isn't there to like? The show was filled with fun, filled with good segments. Overall, a great show. Probably, like I said, probably the best Monday Night Raw of this year. But basically, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.